Hi, Kayla. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. My name is Raz from Everything MMA Era. Just like to kind of start off in terms of the 2021 PFL season. What can we expect from you, and what do you feel are your biggest challenges this year?
Well, you can expect dominance. I feel like this year I'm a very well-rounded fighter, which makes me very dangerous. And I think the challenges are just going to be protocol and, the things that COVID brings along with it. But in terms of fighting, I think I'm ready as ever.
Okay. And so just kind of follow up on that. Do you feel that maybe with COVID, with restrictions, they're kind of your main challenges in the upcoming year, obviously kind of shifting away the focus from the fighting? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're just hurdles. It's just not ideal situations, not ideal scenario, but everyone has to go through it. So it's just kind of part of life. But in terms of, fighting, I think I'm excited. It's been a while. I'm excited to get back in the cage and do what I do best.
Okay. Thank you. Best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you very much.
Breeze, please.
Hey, Kayla, this is Breeze with the MMA Breeze. I wanted to ask you, you've already won the championship a couple times now. How do you stay motivated coming into this season and securing another victory?
Well, I mean, motivation has always been an internal thing for me. I don't do this for money. I don't do it for fame. I don't do it for glory. I do it to be the best in the world. I just have this internal desire. I'm not there yet. I'm not the best in the world yet. So there's plenty left to accomplish.
Right on. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Daniel, please.
This is Daniel from Cage My IQ. Seeing that you fought at the end of the year at featherweight, how hard was it to cut that weight and then to put that weight back on?
Well, I didn't have any trouble putting it back on, I'll tell you that much. Actually, after I did cut, I mean, the cut was good. I was very professional about it, was disciplined, got down to about 153 walking around, and then just did the last little bit at the end there. But after I cut down to featherweight, my body just naturally, I guess, wanted to hold on to everything. So my weight jumped up a bit for a while there. So I was walking around pretty heavy, which in hindsight is a good thing, just because I naturally sit at about 160 to 165. And I learned a lot of big girls in the 155 pound weight class who are cutting some good weight. So I think that extra weight is going to be good for me.
And then did you feel that fight is going to help you out, knowing that you would have had over a year fight difference compared to just a few months?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no supplement for cage time and getting in there. You can't replicate that or emulate it anywhere. So just being able to get one fight in last year, get those feelings, those nerves, those excitement and jitters was important for me. And also just to continue to see my development, continue to see where I need to work and what I need to focus on. I was very happy that I got to fight last year.
Thank you very much.
Conan, please. Conan, are you out there? Okay, we'll go with Barcelona.
Jim Barcelona, Miami Herald. Kayla, you mentioned that fight, and I'm wondering, what was that like with just working with PFL to be able to do that? Because they weren't doing anything, and you're like, hey, I want to get a fight in. So just that process and them being able to work with you so you're able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super grateful that, I was able to have the opportunity to compete last year. PFL and my manager worked together closely to make that happen. I know it was strenuous and stressful at times, but ultimately I feel like we're all happy with how it went down. And I want to thank Invicta for giving me the opportunity to compete. The fight game is a very short window. You get in, you get off and you get out. And to have to take a year off in my prime would have been, I feel like, tragic. So I'm glad that the PFL and I were able to come to an agreement.
And what was it like training now, getting ready for the season with American Top Team, growing as a fighter, growing as being able to train there at that special place?
Of course. I mean, it's the best team in the world, American Top Team. Just the people you see come in and out of our doors every day, the level of fighters, the greatness that walks through the doors, and the coaching, the staff, everyone there from top to bottom. It's a smooth running ship, and being the team captain is a huge honor for me. I'm very blessed to call American Top Team home.
That's really cool about the team captain too. Lastly, for me, Kayla, the Olympics are coming up this summer. You know a little something about the Olympics. Do you get jazzed a little bit, still excited, even though you're not competing for the Olympic gold anymore?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the biggest sports stage in the world. It's a time in the world where we all come together and we put aside all of our differences. And one of my favorite things about the Olympics is its motto. The motto is Citius Audius Fortius, which means faster, higher, stronger, not fastest, not strongest. It's all about giving your absolute best. And that's something that I try to live by every day in my life. So I'm a huge fan of the Olympics. I'm always going to be a huge fan. I actually might be commentating the judo portion of the Olympic Games for NBC. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, that's very cool. Well, thank you as always. All the best.
Thank you.
Dylan, please.
Hey there, Kayla. I appreciate the time.
My pleasure.
I was just curious because there was a certain level of visceral beauty to the last fight there, just getting to uncork the elbows there. And that seemed to have a pretty immediate effect there. But, PFL obviously not allowing the elbows. I'm kind of curious. I imagine you're very excited to get back to competing within the PFL framework. But is it a bit of a bummer that the elbows have to be shelved for a little bit?
For sure. It's kind of one of those things where you don't know what you're missing until you've had it, like if you give a kid sugar for the first time and they're like, that's kind of how I felt when I got to throw my first elbow. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I'm sure a lot of fighters feel like, hopefully some rule changes can be made. So maybe they're allowed in the finals or something like that. I understand the reasoning behind not having them. But man, when you're a top-heavy opponent or fighter like I am, they really changed the impact of ground and pound. So I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss those buggers.
Yeah, well, it definitely had great immediate effect there. So hopefully that can be brought back in the future. But in any event, I appreciate the time.
My pleasure.
Tanai.
Hey, Kayla, Tanai from MMA Island. I wanted to bring back a conversation you had with Henry Cejudo, Triple C, about being the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. He has a fair argument.
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah, he does have a decent argument, and so do you. You obviously are a judo world champion and the PFL champion. So what would it take for you to become the GOAT of combat sports?
Well, first of all, Henry is a one-time Olympic champion. I don't believe he ever won the world championships in wrestling. He did win 2 belts in the UFC and has since retired at age of 12. I'm not really sure how old he is. So really, it's just a matter of time for me. I won the junior world championships. I won the senior world championships in judo. I won the Olympics, not once, but twice. I won the PFL belt. I'm about to win another belt this year. So I'm pretty sure if you do everything twice, that makes you the greatest of all time. And I don't think he's going to be able to hold a candle to my career.
Absolutely. Love your confidence. Can't wait for Thursday.
Thank you.
Head Kick Audio.
Hey, Kayla, this is Steve with Head Kick Audio. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Sorry. What has been your biggest improvement since the last time we saw you compete?
I think just my confidence. I'm definitely, my striking's coming along. I feel more developed as a fighter. I feel more comfortable inside of a cage. I'm not afraid to hit or get hit anymore. And I think that makes me a dangerous fighter. It's not necessarily like you see these vast improvements and, I'm not going to go out there and throw a spinning back kick or anything like that. But I just think that overall, I'm much more comfortable and at ease inside of a cage. And that helps me implement my game plan even more dominantly, which, if that's possible, is scary.
Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
Sergio?
Hi, Kayla. This is Sergio from Fighter Path MMA. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. So favorites like Anthony Pettis and Lance Palmer suffered defeats a couple weeks back. You're obviously the favorite going into this one. Do you feel any added pressure as a favorite? And do you feel like there's a target on your back because of that?
No, I don't feel any added pressure. You know, nothing in the outside world could put any more pressure than I do to myself internally. And I've been under the bright lights for a long time now. And it's where I shine, you know. I'm built different, and I think, I've had a target on my back from day one, I feel like, since I've been here. So it is what it is. This is my job. This is my life. And nothing's going to stop me.
I love it. Thanks and best of luck.
Thank you.
Darnell, please.
Hi, Kayla. Darnell Giovanni with MMA Island. Just had a question for you in regards to training at American Top Team. Who was one of your toughest sparring partners when you walk in there just like, oof, this is going to be a rough day?
Well, all of them. I sparred a lot with Pedro Munoz this camp, and I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys all know him and see him and what a juggernaut he is. So that was tough. Just like he's a pressure fighter with good takedown defense. So it's like, oh, what do I do? No, everybody there is there's no such thing as an easy day at American Top Team. My sparring partner, my main training partner, Anthony, we call him Goose, is here with me, and he gives me a big push. I sparred a little bit with Valerie Lareda this camp. She's a killer. So yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about all my training partners. I love them and I love to hate them.
Thank you so much, Kayla.
Tom Ward, please.
Hey, Kayla, you've spoken a lot about becoming a more well-rounded mixed martial artist. Can you just tell us a bit of how you've worked on your striking?
Yeah, I think, it's been at the forefront sort of for a while in my MMA career, just getting comfortable, working on specific techniques that fit my game plan, that fit my style of fighting, working on the basics. I'm a big believer in basics. I'm a big believer. What I learned in the first 6 months of judo is what won me 2 Olympic gold medals. So the problem is in MMA, I'm still a baby, I'm still a white belt. So I have to put in the time, and there's really no substitute for that. I can't just get really good at striking overnight. I just have to put in the time, put in the reps over and over and over and over and over again. And I think having a year off where you don't train for a specific opponent and you're not in a camp and you're not, focused on all of these other things that you sometimes have to focus on for fights, just gave me even more opportunity to go in and get better slowly but surely at all of those things that you don't necessarily focus on when you have a fight. It's kind of like when you're a professional athlete, especially, coming over to a sport, everyone already thinks you can run when you haven't even learned to crawl yet. So I kind of went back and learned how to crawl and tightened up everything, if that makes sense. Worked on a lot of power, worked on precision, worked on all of those things that maybe I wasn't skipping over them, but I just didn't have enough time to focus on.
Amazing. Thank you. And if I could push you for a prediction.
I'm going to win by KO, TKO, or submission.
Amazing. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Next question for Tristan.
Hi, Kayla. Tristan Critchfield from Sherdog.com. Well, you said you're happy with PFL and you're focused on 155 pounds. How much of a move to featherweight factors into your future plans?
It's definitely food for thought. I think we all knew that it was probably going to have to be inevitable at some point in my career. There's just way more depth there, and there's a lot of opportunity. The greatest fighter of all time competes there. So yeah, of course it's on my mind, but I have a whole season in front of me. I got tough 4 fights. I got a lot of stuff to do before I even start to think about having to eat salad again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Tariq?
Hey, Kayla, it's Tariq with the Havoc Hour. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. So I got to see that Invicta fight, and more particularly, I got to see your reaction as you were walking away there. Did you kind of surprise yourself at the performance that you had in that fight?
I mean, I'm my own toughest critic, so I was like a little pissed off with myself afterwards, just because there were some things that I wanted to work on more that I didn't. But at the end of the day, it's a fight. You got to go where the fight takes you. But after the cut that caused all the blood was from the very first elbow that I threw in my entire career. And because you can't really, how do you drill throwing elbows in practice? You can't do it live on a person. So it was the first real elbow I'd ever thrown in my life. And then the blood afterwards, like I'm not a naturally, I guess, psychotic person. So I wasn't like, yeah, she's bleeding. I was like, part of me was like, oh my God, there's blood everywhere. And part of me was like, finish her. So it was like a very weird experience where I was like, I really don't want to keep punching her, but I have to keep punching her. And then I got up and it was like all over me, and it was like on my lips and in my hair and under my nails. And I was like, okay, so this is what fighting is really like.
Also, real quick, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Claressa Shields is making her debut next month. Do you have eyes towards getting in the cage with her, or are you just focused on the belt?
I mean, I'm very excited for her debut. I think it's very early in her career to anticipate us fighting anytime in the near future. She's not in the season. I'm in the season. And I think it's good for her to take her time, get her feet wet, get some one-off fights, get the experience that she needs. And if and when she's ever ready, I'll be waiting.
It's good to see you, champ. Good luck on Thursday.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's have our last question go to Michael Owens, please.
Hey, Kayla, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Everything good here in Puerto Rico. Thank you so much for your time. My question
for Puerto Rico. Okay.
Yeah, our weather is decent at this point, so that's a good thing. How important for your legacy as a fighter is to maintain that undefeated record that you still have?
I don't really think about undefeated a lot in my visualization and stuff like that. Listen, loss is a part of life. I've been, in the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat in my career many times before. It happens. I don't plan for it to happen ever in my MMA career, but it's not going to be something, if it were to happen, that would ever break me or change me. And I don't think that in terms of legacy, you look at all of the great champions and people of our time and of history, it's not what happened. It's not when you lose, it's what you do with your loss. It's how you overcome those obstacles. And that's been the story of my life. It's not, I failed. It's failure is my fuel and watch me rise even higher. So that's my mentality towards taking a loss, but it's not going to happen. So don't worry about it.
And just a quick follow-up regarding the bubble. How's been your experience in the PFL bubble, and how complicated mentally has been for you to be isolated from the world?
We almost made it the whole conference. Yeah, listen, it's just part of life. This is what I have to do. My job is to go out there and fight and put on a hell of a performance and win. And my mom taught me that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. So I'm just going to go do my job.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and good luck on Thursday.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kayla. Appreciate you for coming out today.
Thanks, guys.